Hi, I'm Chloe McCracken, and today I'm going to share with you the biggest lessons that I've learned around exercise, emotional eating, and breaking the cycle of guilt around food and movement. For years, I exercised a lot. I would control my food and then binge, and as many emotional eaters do, I thought that moving more would just fix everything. Spoiler alert, it didn't. I'm going to share with you what I learned that changed everything about how I move, eat, and think. Some people find it hard to get moving. They feel like they should exercise, but they don't really want to, or they're not sure how, or they just lack the motivation for some reason. I was the direct opposite of that. For years, even decades, I exercised far too hard and far too long. Not because I loved it, not because it made me feel good, but because I felt like I had to in order to earn my food. I would overeat and then overexercise to make up for it, or overexercise ahead of time because I knew that I wanted to have something and that I would almost certainly not be able to control myself around it, so I'd better get the exercise in now while I still could. Overall, I was an exercise bulimic, on top of lots of other things. Even recently, I found myself thinking that I had to exercise every single day. While I used to exercise for 2 or 3 hours at a time and lots of cardio, these days my exercise program looks a lot healthier. I mix cardio with recuperative yoga days and with lots of weights workouts. But still, there was this drive inside me saying, I have to work out every single day. And it was only when I got injured that I stopped to think, is this really the best thing for my body? You see, I had been telling myself that exercise is healthy. Everybody knows that. It's good for your body to move. And yet, that isn't always true because overexercise can be very damaging. So I had to stop and rethink a lot of things. And I'm going to share with you what I learned and what I do differently. My first realization was that you cannot out-exercise poor food choices. This was the hardest one to accept. It didn't matter how long I spent on the exercise bike, how many dance videos I followed along to, how many step classes I went to. It didn't solve the deeper issues around my emotional eating. And it didn't magically solve the stress eating, the binge eating for comfort. It didn't actually help with my weight even that much. Exercise is great for health, but it's not a punishment. It's not a transaction, and it's not a solution for emotional eating. There was no way that I could burn off all the chocolate that I was eating, and even trying wasn't helping with the stress, the binging, the comfort eating, the desire, and the cravings for chocolate. So I had to completely rethink things. Once I stopped trying to burn off my food, my relationship to exercise and to treats completely shifted. My second realization was about the effects of overexercise on your body. For one thing, exercising too much increases your cortisol levels. This causes both your body and your emotions stress. Secondly, it raises your ghrelin levels as well, which is a hunger hormone, so it actually induces cravings. And thirdly, the more stressed your body is, it also increases the amount of the calories that you're taking in, which you store as fat. So it literally makes you fatter. On top of that, increasing your cortisol levels also increases the level of inflammation in your body. And in the longer term, that is what leads to the risk of injury and actually doing yourself harm so that you can no longer move and get the benefits, the health benefits of exercise. So over-exercising was damaging my body, making me store more of my calories as fat, and it was also setting me up for failure in the future when I would have injury, fatigue, and burnout. overexercise was pushing me deeper and deeper into that cycle of overeating, cravings, gaining weight, feeling bad, stressing out my body, stressing out my emotions, and damaging my body, causing myself inflammation. So what do I do differently these days? I've now built in rest days, active rest days. I still want to move a little to get the health benefits of lubricating my joints and maintaining my flexibility, keeping moving. But it's not punishing exercise. I've built in recuperative yoga days. That's not spending an hour and a half or two in Ashtanga yoga. It's doing gentle stretching and probably only for 25 or 30 minutes. It's not about spending an hour on the exercise bike, but maybe just going for a walk in nature, enjoying the world around me while I do so. These things help to balance my emotions. They help to keep me moving, keep me active, keeping feeling good in my body, while also bringing me a greater sense of calm, well-being, mindfulness. I also do 2 days of weights, lifting fairly heavy, because I know that it builds strength, builds muscle, and helps me with my appetite. So I'm building in lots of healthy habits, things to make me truly strong, rather than just trying to burn off those calories. And it means that I'm calmer and less in need of reaching for food for comfort. Most importantly, I no longer punish myself with exercise. And this was my third realization and really the biggest takeaway here. The most important thing was changing my beliefs around exercise, what I actually thought about it. I thought that I had to exercise every day. I thought that I had to do lots of cardio. I thought that I had to spend a lot of time on my exercise, and none of those things were true. However, removing those beliefs was actually part of the challenge, because sometimes it felt dangerous to not exercise. If I didn't exercise, I was going to become huge. It was obvious to me, but it wasn't true. And working on your beliefs is the most important shift that you can make, because once you can feel calm and make choices from a place that is rational and compassionate rather than punitive and critical, that's when you achieve the best results. As part of this work, I had to change my beliefs, not just about food, but as I say, about exercise, treats, and especially deserving. And I did that using a combination of tapping and havening, practices which help you to discover what the beliefs are and then actually go and change them at a deep level so that it no longer comes up inside of you as this drive, this push that you perhaps don't even understand where it comes from or why, and you certainly don't feel capable of changing. Instead, you can see what the beliefs are, where they perhaps come from, and you can shift how you feel about them. You can unlearn the lessons that you learnt about what you should and shouldn't do. So instead, you can choose what you want to do and what is going to be really good for you in the long term. If you're navigating emotional eating or using exercise as a form of control or compensation, know this: you don't need more willpower. You don't need the latest diet fad. You don't need hours and hours at the gym. You need more compassion and better beliefs. If this resonates, subscribe or follow for more on emotional eating recovery, mindset work, healthy beliefs, and feeling good in your body and in your relationship with food and movement.